What up, savages? Welcome to an episode of The Field, one of my favorite segments on my channel when I get to talk about G.I. Joe, Valorverse stuff. But today, we're going to be going over Serpentor. And the title says I'm not a huge fan of Serpentor because I'm not. Not necessarily saying this toy, which I'll get into the toy. I think there's some, in my eyes, classified releases that's better than Serpentor or is equal. But the toy was done good. But I'm not a huge fan of Serpentor. I think Cobra Commander is the commander of the Cobra Army. Destro is just as good, but he's second in command. Even though Cobra Commander is very incompetent, he seems like a buffoon at sometimes. I just like the aspect of him. I think he's a dope character. I think he's a dope character design. As far as Serpentor, I never was too crazy over his design, just originally from his whole concept. And I always just thought he was far-fetched, which is crazy to say in G.I. Joe. But let's get into the toy. Sculpting's done very well. You can see the scaling throughout, and it's textured. The sculpted snakes on his chest, wrapping around his armpits, going over his shoulders. Those are pretty cool. They don't move. They're pretty much glued on, stuck on there. As far as his arms, he has his gauntlet, has that big like Wolverine claw, which I didn't know that it had silver paint. The sword also has a little bit of silver paint on it also too. And as you see down here at the bottom, he has a second claw that's a little bit shorter, but I prefer using the longer one. His kind of like crown for his head, the one where his head doesn't move, is there also. But of course, I prefer to use the one where he can move his head around, and you see the pet snake, which is stuck in that mold, but it's a very cool prop. Also, he has that staff, which the gold looks good, the plastic looks good, but I thought maybe could use a little bit more paint on it. As you see, he has paint on his chest. As far as overall the figure being put together, I think it's awesome. Everybody puts it in as a figure of the year. More likely for me, it probably won't, man. I'm just not into it like that. And then also with mine, I got some stiff joints that I'm afraid to move because this figure was limited. And I'm not gonna break this. This is one I can be like, well, oh well, nah. But for me, Serpentor is just gonna be shelf presence. But I would like to move my figure, so I guess I gotta whatever that oil be amazing. Use that Kiki oil, Kitty's oil. I guess I gotta put some of that in there to get that moving. But he's just gonna be shelf presence. I'm not moving him anymore. That's why I don't really have him in a lot of action poses, because that left shoulder and actually my elbow joints are really stiff too. Almost feel like they're gonna break when you move them. But the highlight of this figure for me is the air chariot. I knew soon as this figure dropped, I was like, I gotta get the air chariot. The air chariot's pretty cool. It's very big. He's a very big guy, and to me, he's the only one that looks stupid on it. Yo, he just almost looks like he's too big for it. Now, the size of this G.I. Joe classified Serpentor is about the size of a WWE Elite, and that's more kind of like a 6-inch scale, going more toward like a 7-inch scale figure. So he's up there. I got some other characters I'm gonna put on this air chariot, and they just seem like they fit better than he does. But air chariot wasn't hard to put together. Pretty much plug and play. You'll have to be an idiot not to figure it out. As far as the detail and sculpting, has rivets all through, like it's bolted in. Probably could have used a little bit more paint in some areas, but they did some decals on the bottom, on the side. You see the Cobra insignia. They also have like little writing saying "Don't step here," almost like it's an aircraft, like a Sky Striker. Just giving you hazard signs not to step here. The propeller that's on the back actually moves on the inside. It actually has a rotating propeller, but just little details they did give. But I think it probably could have used a little bit more paint, a little bit more wash between the scales and the Cobra wings on the front. Now that could probably use wash because it's an air chariot. It's getting dirty. It's been put into action, and it got put into action a lot on G.I. Joe. But my biggest thing is look how cool like the other characters look with the air chariot, and that's what I'm going to do. Pretty much separate the two. The air chariot I probably will constantly, you'll see me over the years probably constantly have that in photos like this right here, like some Crimson Guards got a hold of it and they're battling it out with G.I. Joe with it. But in my Serpentor would just mainly be used for shelf presence. Now when they come out with another Serpentor, I definitely will be putting that one to in action. But this one, this SDCC one, it's just way too expensive. Which this cost me $80, and I will say that it's not overpriced. Even though I'm really not I wouldn't necessarily say I'm not feeling Serpentor. I just don't think he's all that. $80. The Air Chariot is definitely worth $45. Serpentor is definitely worth like $35. They definitely put the sculpt in, and they definitely gave the accessories for him to be warranted at that price. But my biggest thing is separating the two, and definitely having my original Serpentor for the shelf, and then putting this Air Chariot into action. As far as the Air Chariot, I wonder if they probably will maybe do another run of this solo. I'm definitely thinking that. Maybe it's not so much different things going on with it as far as scope and plug and play pieces, and that Cobra mouth also opens up too. I think I got one photo with the mouth open up, fangs come out, but I think it was put together very well. Like I said, that was my biggest thing, just the Air Chariot. That's really what I wanted mostly out of this set. I could care less if they came with Serpentor or not. Of course, I have to get him because of the numbering of the figures, and I'm a diehard completionist right now of the G.I. Joe Classified line. But if they came two separately in the main line, I definitely would have been picking up the Air Chariot before him. But I think it was a great addition. I think the price was worth it. Like I said, a lot of people are going to try to put this figure in their top 10, and they should too. I mean, I'm not saying it's bad, but I think there's some mainline releases that's as equal to Serpentor, or maybe even better, with much less done to them, which is a crazy kind of thing, man. But like I said, that's just the way I feel, and I'm a little salty about my stiff joints on my arms too, man. But even if not that, I just knew out the giddy up, just looking at him on renders, that I wasn't going to be too crazy over him. Also, his big, I guess 50 cal belt-fed guns, machine guns, they come off too. It's just really plug and play. This one I got off, I pulled off because it just seems like it's real loose. They don't snap in, they just kind of push in. Easy to take out. The handles are really big, so they're made for him, because I believe Zartan has some pretty decent sized hands. Maybe I think Zartan hands are small. But if you got characters with bigger hands, it definitely can grip the guns a little bit better. I know it seems like he has the gun pretty good, but it's kind of loose in his hand. But overall, I think Serpentor is a good figure. Sucks if you missed out and couldn't get him. But if you're not a diehard like me, man, just wait. It's going to come down the line. This is G.I. Joe. Now, it might come down one more time, because I don't remember Serpentor being released a lot in the original R 3 3/4 inch era. But he will come back again. He will come back again. So that wraps it up for what I think about Serpentor. Like I said, I think it's a good action figure. I think it was worth the money. I'm just not crazy over it, and I'm not putting the extra juice on it, saying it's the best classified release ever. It's not, to me, in my eyes. I think Blood, I think Rock and Roll, hell, I think maybe Scrap Iron probably looks better to him than it to me. I can kind of go down the list with it. But this is just Savage Land. If you can, give your boy a like, comment, subscribe. Until the next time, God bless.